Slow is fast. Intention of this video is to share some lessons from this week as well as today, both personally and professionally, where slowing down has actually led to much faster progress. And the professional side that I got from this is from Tim Ferriss and his book, Tools of the Titans. And when he was interviewing people from different levels of the armed forces, the special forces, the Marines, and people like that, they're just like slow is fast, smooth is actually fast. And how I think about it is we can tangent a lot. We can be very erratic. We can be very over analytical. We just go from one point to another, almost from a place of like anxiety and rush, when the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? And how often are we just going like this and almost being like all over the place? And one of my today's intentions when I wrote down what would make today awesome is to be very, very slow in my execution of everything. In fact, I woke up feeling pretty slow, both from like an emotional side as well as an energetic side, even though I slept 10 hours and 45 minutes. And that was just coming off of a Miami party the night before, to where the artist I wanted to see didn't go on until 5 a.m. So I'm like, okay, it's my Monday. It's the day that I just love to execute and move things forward all day on things that actually matter. And I'm feeling a little bit toast. So after I got done with just a short morning routine, I'm like, all right, in order for me to execute fast, I'm going to slow down a lot. I'm just going to actually take it 15 to 20 minutes at a time. I'm going to take consistent breaks, and I'm just going to look at this one thing that I'm supposed to do for the day and look at the list and have it execute on it in the way that the AI actually just set up my calendar to move forward on things. I'm like, okay, one at a time. And I took a break probably once every 15 to 20 minutes. And when I do take a break, I will probably take a break for about 5 minutes. And Flow Research Collective also speaks into that. A lot of people call it Pomodoro. And I think just the basics of like Gary Brecken, any teaching where they're saying almost like we're sitting is the new smoking, or after we've been into something for 15 to 20 minutes, we greatly accelerate our deceleration process and how we handle things. Like we just get slow, we get dumb, we get lethargic. So in order to keep myself sharp, I was like, I'm going to be even slower. Well, it turned out by the end of the day, at least what it measured, it had one of the most productive days that was there. Like everything just started cleaning house. Everything's moving forward. And I was just like, had time for a sunset walk. And I also want to relate this onto a personal side, where it was last Wednesday is when I was meeting with the therapist who's on my personal side, my mental side. And I normally only meet with her once every 2 weeks. I like for 2 weeks to go by and then we exchange everything. Well, I ended up calling her that morning on Wednesday because I was just like in my mental shit for like a day, like 1 to 2 days. I'm like, I actually want to work with her now when I'm in my shit, because what's happened over the last 1 to 2 months, I've mainly only worked with her when things have been in great momentum. So I want someone to take a look at me from the outside who's really good at this stuff while I'm in it, so that they can see in things that aren't working. And it's important to go way beyond self-help, at least my experience, because we don't see the things that really aren't working for us. We don't really see our own patterns. And she's so good at seeing the things that aren't working that I wanted her to listen to me, to listen to my stories, listen to the things that aren't working, to interrupt me. And that was there. And by the end of it, just a bunch of like verbal blah, 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 and me getting through it. At the end, I'm like, what's the summary here? What is it? She goes, Brad, just dude, slow the fuck down. You're actually trying to get through this last other big grief part. You're trying to get through these last other things that you're not quite through. And I'm like, you're dead on. I'm like, my efficiency brain that's so good in business and like running a day and showing people how to free up free time, I was trying to accelerate a grief process. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe if I'm with someone, what's that thing when you're with someone like romantically? If you're with them for like a year, it takes like half the time to get through it. And I'm like, this one's going to take me a lot longer. And I'm like, it's been a year. And I realized I hit, I was like, holy shit, it's been a year. And I'm like, still not through this shit. And I was like beating myself up over it. And she's like, Brad, you need to slow the fuck down. And you just need to slow down and move forward, slow down and move forward. And it was like such a release that I was like, you're right. I don't need a timeline on this process. I don't need to know when I need to be done with it. I actually just need to know that why I might not be through something is maybe I was trying to efficientize it too much, but just to be okay with that you care that much. And who fucking knows if you ever get over some things. Maybe some things take a couple months. Maybe they take years. Maybe that's there. But the lesson was just like slow down. And I noticed by me just choosing to like hit the brakes and being like, okay, I don't care anymore. I'm just actually going to like use the word surrender, that I can almost use that in business as well when it comes to the efficiency and wanting to get things done and having timelines. You know what? I'm just going to surrender this process on a personal level as well. And I noticed a huge like release within the next day of just being okay with it. Tapping into flow, tapping into it being all freed up, tapping into things that I want to move forward on, tapping into more energy and effort, as well as just with myself, but also the universe bringing in other things and experiences of what I want. Like just actually not caring and slowing down that much, which I think is going to speed up that process, which is speeding up business process, which is speeding my own personal and task process, which is speeding up my own like personal processes with things. And it just really worked. And like, if I'm really going to sum up this chat on to bring the lesson, it said smooth is fast and slow is fast. And at least in the business side, what I think is a top creator of people not being slow or smooth is when they're operating so much of everything they do from their head, rather than being written out, because then from there, they're just all over the place. Like they're just, there's all these little dots and there's tangents and they're just all over the place. And it causes them to be very like erratic. And taking a hard step back to like sit down with pieces of paper, like I'm getting much better at night and also getting really clear in the morning. I'm normally crystal clear in my morning and my day, even before I go to bed. Like I already know what's going to make tomorrow awesome. I'm already clear on like my top reminders, like, you know, my health, my mental health, you know, what I'm driving forward in the business, you know, making my home feel like home in this new move that I've been doing, and, you know, people that I care about, things I want to create in this world. Like it's such a slower process, and I can just feel almost like the sea and the ocean that I'm cruising across is becoming so smooth. And when I start to notice and become greatly aware that I'm not moving forward in something, whether if it's business, personal, loss, grief, acceleration, vision of all those things that there, when I actually start to get really like in my head or over analytical, or I can feel the environment's working me a little bit, I'm just like, time out, take a hard step back, take a nap, go for a walk, and be like, what am I really up to? And actually slowing it down. And the productivity is just soaring. The productivity with peace of mind is soaring. The productivity with more time off and peace of mind is soaring. The personal peace is soaring. The personal, really just choosing to be like loving, peaceful, forgiving, joyful, having a radical increase in the percentage of positive emotions, and coming from that place is a lot faster and smoother as well. So it's almost like taking this consistent step back to see what's actually ruffling the feathers and all the seas that are there. And one thing I'm enjoying is I do a lot of like introspection and habit tracking now, and seeing how it actually shows up in the week, everything from using the Oura ring and the sleep And am I on my Gary Brecker routine from like the breathing and like the cold therapy, and even just, how am I tapped in with my fun and the people that I love about? Am I being supportive? And it doesn't take long, but just actually taking some look at those habits that are working and to ask, am I doing those in the day, and like 10 to 15 minutes with myself, it's really starting to show up on the actual KPIs of business and life. Whether if it's the money in, the sales in, the marketing side, the connections, being acquainted and fun and community and being loving. How do I feel about myself on a scale from 1 to 10? How am I feeling about just positive emotions? Where's my energy? Where's my tribe? Things like that. My loving relationships with other people, romance, and just general self-actualization with things that are there. And it just feels so much better to be operating from the smooth is fast place. It's a blessing to have that. So I think whenever, at least in my experience, when I've been feeling the eradication now, I'm just like, time out, because smooth is fast. Hope it adds some value. And if you ever want to comment or question, there for it too. And it's another beautiful night overlooking the waters and the ocean. Just so gorgeous to look at night.